Welcome to the 12 Monkeys podcast, a Southgate Media Group production, where we talk all about Sci-Fi Channel's reimagining of the classic science fiction film originally produced by Terry Gilliam. I'm your host, Blaire Graves, executive producer of Professional Geek Podcast, and with me today is Kyle Tremblay, the editor-in-chief at tvbinges.com. You can find us on Twitter at Blaire Loves TV and at Kyle Loves TV. And remember, both Blaire and Kyle have an E at the end. And you can follow this podcast's Twitter handle at 12monkeys.pod. Hey, Kyle, how you doing today?
Blaire, I didn't realize that Kyle also had an E at the front. I'm E Kyle.
You're E Kyle and I'm E Blaire.
Yes. Hey, you know what? We're on the internet. I feel like this is a good change for our branding. We can be a little more cool, appeal to the 2016 crowd.
Yep, and we can maintain that we're doing the same thing on the internet.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
All right, so today you and I are going to be discussing Season 2, Episode 5, Bodies of Water, which was written by Kristen Rydell. I think I'm saying that right. She's known for her writing and producing on Nikita, Sleepy Hollow, and The Blacklist. I think it's worth noting that Nikita is also the project that Terry Matalas came from, who is the showrunner for 12 Monkeys.
Ah, so he brought her over.
Brought her over.
I would think.
But I haven't been able to see any other credits for 12 Monkeys that she wrote, so it's possible that this might be her first episode.
Ooh. Well,
yeah.
I think, spoiler alert, that this was a fine debut.
I would agree with that assessment. I would say that the tone was exceptionally different from the previous 4 episodes this season, though.
Was this, or did this play to you? Because I just watched it. Like, it ended like 2 minutes ago. Did this play to you kind of like a horror movie for parts of it?
Yes.
It did to me. There were some like weird horror elements that aren't really present in much of 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is a lot of things and a lot of good things. I don't know if 12 Monkeys is scary most of the time, but this episode was kind of scary.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I'd also say that it was scary in the way that like a horror comedy is scary, like Tucker and Dale versus Evil or Cabin in the Woods or that kind of style, where there are parts that are just genuinely terrifying, but there's a lot of humor and smarminess to it as well.
I mean, there's always humor in 12 Monkeys. That's something that the show does really well, is it always injects funny scenes and has sort of designated comedic moments. And also, even though it is the apocalypse, it's also like there's a lot of scenes where people are just sort of talking like humans and not at threat level midnight with all this stuff. But like this, I'm specifically thinking of like our witness scenes, which were super creepy and really weird. And then also just like the Ring style, Jennifer's visions of, I'm guessing, her mom.
Her PTSD of her mom.
Yeah, appearing like as like a kind of zombified corpse in like the background of a bunch of things, like real creepy stuff.
Yeah, no, and I mean even the bathtub inducement into meeting the witness for Cassie had its own element of horror as well. I would say that was probably one of the scarier things, even though it was very, very short-lived. That's an image that's sticking with me.
and then Cole and Ramsey just attempting to murder Deacon. Like full on attempting to backstab and murder him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happened off screen, which is the only reason I believed it didn't happen. But for a second there, I was like, "Oh no, did we lose Todd Stashwick?" No.
I was apoplectic about the thought of losing Deacon, especially after that scene in the middle of this episode where they were riding like shoulder to shoulder in a van, like Dumb and Dumber, and they were bickering with each other. I was like, if you freaking take Deacon away from us now, I am never forgiving you. And then, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Deacon returns, and he ain't even mad.
Nope, covered in blood and with his eye punched out.
Deacon is history's greatest hero.
Yes, I agree. But I would like to say I think we're burying the lead a little bit because I don't know if you remember this. But I called it that Aaron was the witness. And maybe Aaron's not the witness. Maybe that's like a red herring. But I would like to just say it to the world that last season on our podcast, probably around episode 8 or 9, I called that Aaron was the witness, and I was very happy to see it sort of come to fruition today.
It does seem like we're heading in that direction, and I've been reading stuff on the internet that it seems like people have taken to this idea of Aaron being the witness, and I it does seem like you way back when you predicted that will be proven correct.
Yep. Just humble bragging right now. No big deal.
The part of the humble part is mysterious in that statement.
Like the witness, it is very mysterious.
Yes. Yeah, it's like we're in a house and on the walls is just appearing. I called who the witness was.
That's what it would be if I went to go meet the witness. He'd just say, "You called it. You go, Glenn Coco." That would be all that came up on the walls.
Yes. In your 12 Monkeys fan fiction centered around yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You've inserted yourself as a time traveler.
Yes. I mean, that time traveler juice makes you age really slowly. I'd be down for some of that.
I mean, look, it should be a mass market product.
It should. All right. But going back so that we can dissect the episode,
Yes.
The episode started with older Jennifer, 2044 Jennifer, and her lovely tortoise sending Cassie back in time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that tortoise just keeps coming back.
The tortoise, the unspoken co-lead of the show. Yeah, because Cole was all ready to make another time hop there, and turns out Jennifer was like, "Nah, Cassie,
yeah.
You're up. We need some. You know what? We got off on the wrong foot. We got to have some bonding time here." And so this much of this episode was the adventures of Cassie and Jennifer.
Yes, which little did I know that's what it would really take for me to finally like Jennifer.
Well, welcome to the train, Blaire. I'm glad you hopped on 10 stops too late.
You know what? I've never been one to follow the crowd, Kyle.
Yeah. Oh, listen. I feel like I liked Jennifer when the crowd did not like her, and then I was an early adopter as far as Jennifer goes. I feel like the internet then were sort of joined as a crowd, and then you're like the late adopter, whatever that's called in the business terms.
I think that people started to like Jennifer when they started to dislike Cassie, and they were looking for a female protagonist to like. That's just my theory.
That's a terrible reason. I disavow my association with those people. There is no reason you can't like both Jennifer and Cassie and what they're bringing to the show. I've liked them the whole time. I just think Jennifer has just been a great presence on the show. She's been an interesting presence since the moment she was on screen for me. But this season, where we've more clearly turned her into a good guy, has been really great for the character.
Yeah, she was. So I always had her in my mind as the Brad Pitt character, and I mean, obviously that's who she's based off of. But the Brad Pitt character is a character whose motivations are uncertain in the film, to say the least.
Yeah.
You don't know if he's doing it just to mess with everybody in his life and his father. You don't know if he's actually trying to help Cole. You don't know if he's just genuinely crazy and just saying things when he shouldn't be saying things. It's very unclear motivations, and the Jennifer character is very similar. And for that reason, I couldn't really... Like, I like Olivia and I like the Pallid Man, but I like them as bad guys. And I like Cole and I like Ramsey and Deacon and Cassie and Katarina. I like them all, but I like them as good guys. So Jennifer, I don't know. It just took me a long time because I couldn't figure out how to categorize her. Mm-hmm. And the performance didn't tell me if I should like her or, that I should appreciate the performance but not know where she belongs. And then I have trouble with characters where I don't know where they belong. Sure.
I think you were reacting negatively to the sort of showier elements of the performance. That it's obviously a very loud performance. It's the loudest on the show by a mile of any of the regulars. I like what I like what she's brought, just in terms of livening things up and the comedic potential, which I think the show has really tapped into in a more consistent way in season 2. The way that they can bring out the comedy of everything and use Jennifer to that extent, to just have a lot of funny interactions, like in this episode when she says that she needs snacks for the trip, and there's just a lot of like little funny stuff of Jennifer interacting with Cole and Cassie that the show has brought to the table this season, in a way where she's not menacing like she was in season 1. In season 1, she did have like an air of menace about her. But yeah, I mean, seeing her work with Cassie and warm up to her in this episode was really, I think, rewarding. Because those two characters have obviously undergone a lot of change in recent episodes, from the end of season 1 to where we are now. And so it was really cool to see their sort of new selves interact with one another, and as Jennifer said later in the episode, become friends. Mm-hmm. She said something like, "Don't you mess with my friend," or something, and that was rewarding.
And each of them taking a turn of saving the other's life.
Yes.
Cassie, maybe it's not as obvious of a life save, but choosing not to kill Jennifer when the Pallid Man comes for her, when she very obviously could have killed Jennifer. And then Jennifer, of course, returning the favor by saving Cassie from what Olivia was doing to her in the tub.
Yeah. I really liked Olivia in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which may be her last episode.
Yeah.
But because she was... What I really liked is she was clearly bothered by the killing the messengers and stuff. Like, there was... It gave us a sense of how things are changing and how that's sort of causing... at least one of our bad guys to become a bit unhinged due to the actions that our sort of good guys team is taking. And that was nice to see, because so often we don't get that perspective. We very rarely in 12 Monkeys had a scene where this sort of bad guy team, for lack of a better term, reacts to something that the good guy team is doing. and so a lot of times it almost feels like you feel like you're making progress, but you have no idea what kind of progress they're making, because the whole idea is about time not, having being difficult to change and all of that. You just don't get a super great sense of what they're actually doing and how it actually affects things. And so seeing Olivia's manner in this episode and how she was so angry at Cassie when she took her hostage and, slapped her, and just the sort of expression was almost like of like panicked anger. Like, she was so upset that she was disrupting her plans. I really liked that element of the performance.
Well, and beyond that, didn't Olivia raise the messengers? Like, isn't that a part of her cycle that she raises all the babies up from?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. So they're all her children, and she's killing her children. That's right. I didn't even think of that, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So to her, it's a very personal battle with Cassie. And she makes it very clear to Cassie that even though the witness wants her alive, that doesn't matter to Olivia. And ultimately, I think that's the one moment that is Olivia's undoing. It's that she becomes so unhinged that she veers away from the cycle that the witness gave her.
Yeah. Well, and as I tweeted, Olivia, for someone who is like a very important figure that has been chosen by this sort of mythical witness character who like transcends time, Olivia super easily fooled by the radio trick. like really easily fooled. Really threw her off.
Yeah, no, I think it was less of like a fooling and more of a, she was so annoyed that she couldn't help herself. Yeah, like she didn't have the wherewithal not to react. Like she,
that's what I mean, though.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is being fooled. Yeah, I understand.
I mean, it worked.
That's
it worked.
The thing. It worked. This
is someone who like is it like constantly foiling these plots that Cassie and Cole are doing to prevent the disease-induced apocalypse of Earth, and she's trying to bring about the Red Forest and the collapse of time, and her entire plans are thrown off by 2 radios being on. It was just like, wow, like Jennifer really knew where to hit her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I buy it. I'm not like criticizing. I'm just saying it was funny because that's like indicative of her mental state. That she was very upset, and she obviously had been getting frustrated, and the Pallid Man has been trolling her and clearly like gunning for her position. And so she was, under a ton of stress, and it was just like, that's the last straw. I'm going to go find who's doing this.
Right.
And just had a meltdown basically to forget about her job and do that.
Is Olivia the Pallid Man's grandmother to a degree? Because isn't his mother a messenger?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm following you.
Okay. No, I'm just thinking like it's like almost like familial bickering, like the way that they kind of hate on each other. But it's also that he's vying for power. Like he's totally a power hungry guy, but like as he's like, I'm going to go see the witness now. Haha, it's my birthright.
I'm not sure on the power structure of Team Witness. Like, what is her, she's in charge of this cycle, okay? What's his role? What's
now he's in charge of
this.
Now he's in charge of this.
What was his role?
He was
like
sort of
lieutenant?
Like, yeah, I would have called him like a lieutenant, where he was not like more than a minion, but less than her.
Yeah. Okay. So
he would go and like she's not the person who goes out and messes things up. She doesn't go hit people or beat them or kill them or anything like that. So it's more like he's the hitman.
It seems like his resentment stemmed from him thinking that he should be in charge of this cycle. Mm-hmm. So at some point they were like even in the organization, and the witness chose her over him.
Yes.
And now that she messed up, the witness chose him. Now
that Ramsey is gone too, right? That would have something to do with the order being messed up for them.
I mean, things have gone badly for Olivia. Just beside from just getting stabbed by Jennifer in the gut, just things seem to have been unraveling. So I guess the witness figures it's time for a change in the old leadership. But also, like, I think the Pallid Man had a line to her about how they're entering this. Did he say unpredictable or something?
Yeah, something like an unpredictable cycle.
Yeah, right, where they don't know what's happening. Like, they are actually, like, living the time, and they don't have the foreknowledge to act on it.
Well, that's because of everything that that Cole and Cassie were able to accomplish. That they're stuck in a new cycle that didn't exist before. Yeah,
which as we're seeing now throws off the witness team, that they now don't...
Team Witness,
yeah. Hashtag Team Witness. They suddenly don't have their sort of omniscience about this whole deal.
Right, but they do have the map, which I thought was really cool to see.
Oh, that Jennifer found?
Yeah,
that whole deal? Yeah.
Yeah. What did she say? Something about her expiration date being 2044.
Oh, yeah. Well,
or good intel.
She had a ton of quips in this episode.
Yeah, no, it was a good episode for Jennifer. But no, the map was really fascinating, and I wish that Jennifer had like an iPhone on her and taken a picture. You know what I mean? Like right. or picked it up and taken it with her. It was probably too big. Like, it looked like it was actually like laminated onto something, and not just like a piece of paper she could roll up and stick in her pocket. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting to figure out how Team Time Travel, Team Witness, Team Time Travel, that Team Time Travel will be able to get a hold of that map and sort of be able to go and find more primaries, because as you posited last week, it looks like the show is about to just jump through time trying to protect primaries.
Yeah, I think that seems to be the structure, because it sure seems like we're heading back to 1975 here in the next episode, which I am very excited about. I want to see Cole. I mean, given how Cole like takes to whatever time he's in, I fully expect him to be in like bell bottoms with an unbuttoned shirt, just doing the whole 70s thing, and Cassie to just be so disappointed.
Cole to show up really liking disco music and just playing it constantly in the future in 2044. That's all he listens to.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm expecting.
But it is cool because it does actually give us an opportunity, based on what we saw in last week's episode, to see the young Pallid Man,
Oh yeah.
because his mother died in 1971, and 1975 is not super far off. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if we're going to get other versions of characters. I doubt that the actor who plays the Pallid Man will be playing young Pallid Man, but
Yeah, no, it'll be Tom Noonan is the actor.
yeah,
He's continues to be amazing. Yeah, it'll be a fun little time shift. I mean, every time the show sort of switches settings is always a fun time. So I think that this sort of big story they're telling gives us plenty of opportunities for that.
Are you at all concerned about Cassie staying behind in 2016, or do you think that's sort of just a cop-out to let, and I say cop-out lightly, but just an opportunity to let Cole have a Cole episode because we just had a Cassie episode?
Yes, I think that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
I think they... I don't think the show wants to fully commit to just being the Cole and Cassie hijinks hour.
I'd watch it, but
I know. But I think the show does work best when characters are paired. It does tend to do that, and The Walking Dead actually has done this at times to varying degrees of effectiveness. But basically pairing off characters for episodes, and sort of mixing and matching those pairs. And so what I think 12 Monkeys is doing is recognizing that maybe if every episode was just Cole and Cassie solving time crimes together, it would get a little bit stale. And so like this episode, we get the Cassie and Jennifer show. And then, we've had mini episodes with the Cole and Ramsey show. And so I think, the show likes to mess around, mix and match its characters and keep the sort of the A story for an episode pretty light on characters so that the characters that are involved can have a little more time to shine.
Yeah, definitely. So who will be going back in time with Cole if it's not Cassie to 1975? Please let it be Deacon.
That was my first thought. Okay. I want a reason for Deacon to go back in time. So
he needs to eventually become a time traveler.
He has to.
Cute little thing that I saw in this episode was that Deacon was taking his pills. So at some point Cassie got him medicine, which I thought that was a cute little, it's never said, but it's in the background thing.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but yeah.
And then another cool thing also happened with Deacon, just because I troll all of the 12 Monkeys fan boards online. I'm a nerd.
Boy.
Was Terry Matalas, who is obviously the showrunner and creator for this show, 12 Monkeys, actually named two of the henchmen that tried to kill Deacon after fans of the show. Otero, who's named after Hank Otero, who started the big Facebook group, the 12 Monkeys Addicts.
Oh, yeah.
And Rankin, named after Travis Rankin, who helped Hank Otero make that Facebook group. And it was like really cute and cool to see that sort of homage to the fans, and like that acknowledgement that the fans are a big part of the show. And you don't see that, to my knowledge anyway, you don't see that often. So that was just like, I just wanted to say it so that people could hear it, because it was a very cool little tidbit. And I saw something happening on Twitter with Terry interacting with them too. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that, but that is really exciting and a cool thing to do. The show does feel like a community. And in science fiction shows have a way of doing this. Sci-fi and fantasy shows, I guess, have a way of doing this that I think other shows don't, where the fandom, even of a show that is not like, breaking ratings records or whatever, can feel more like a community than for, your sort of run-of-the-mill network crime drama. And so, they're just, that's really neat. And it's cool that he does stuff like that. He replied to one of my tweets tonight. So I could only expect that in the future, in season 7, there will be two characters named Kyle and Blaire who sort of critically analyze everything before getting brutally murdered. They're 5 minutes after they're introduced.
They're gonna be sidekicks of Jennifer. They're gonna kind of sound like they're crazy talking about.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Talking about their pictures.
Yeah, really meta. Like talking about like the quality of the show and how much they like all the stories happening, and then like Deacon will just shoot them both in the head.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That would be cool.
Look, it would be the highlight of my career. So
Yeah. But no, we're just positing. But yeah, so it's just very interesting, as you said, like to see the community. The community's really been rallying behind 12 Monkeys. I think it's worth mentioning on the podcast that they're trying to figure out if the show's going to get renewed by Sci-Fi. So if you are a listener of this podcast, if you are we hope a 12 Monkeys fan, if you're listening to this podcast, tweets, Facebook posts, do whatever you can to get the message out. Rewatch it on your DVR or watch it on demand or on the Sci-Fi website. Do anything that you can, to show that there are numbers behind the show, because this really is one of, if not the best sci-fi shows on television right now. And it would be a pure shame to see it go. I don't think that the ratings are low. I just think that they're just low enough, if that makes any sense, where it's the network's trying to decide if it's a worthwhile investment. And that's just sort of what I've been reading in the community. And I wanted to make sure I said it on the podcast and try to encourage everybody to make your voice be known that you care about it.
Yeah, this would be, if Sci-Fi cancels this show, just fold the network, to be honest. Because this drives me nuts. This happened on network. I have another podcast. Sorry to break it to you, where I review every network pilot that airs, along with my co-host Olivia, not from this show.
You're betraying me. No, yeah, I know all about this.
Yes. And a show on Fox called The Grinder, starring Rob Lowe, was canceled this week after one season. And the ratings weren't the greatest, but they also weren't like catastrophic or anything. And the show represents everything that like Fox would hope to get in a comedy. Like, it was hilarious and it was heartfelt and it worked. The chemistry worked. It was like, it had a premise where they could do an infinite number of episodes because it was kind of like a law procedural.
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, and Fox canceled it because the ratings weren't like out of the ballpark spectacular. And I just wonder, like, if TV networks are the last to realize that, like, a hit like Game of Thrones or, Empire a couple seasons ago or whatever is so the exception. And if your entire network is just fishing for that one hit, you're probably going to come up empty like years on end.
Oh, well, that's like, yeah, that's like ABC canceling everything that's not Shondaland. Like, right. They just went through and obliterated pretty much every show that they had that was not any other family comedies or any drama that's not made by Shonda Rhimes, which is, Shonda Rhimes is a great creator. I'm not a huge fan, but I think that, her work is monumental, and it's very cool that she's been able to accomplish what she has. But yes, networks seem to like have this strange, if it's not Game of Thrones or if it's not Scandal or not Empire, then get rid of it, or not Big Bang Theory. What any of those big mega hits, then it's not worth the investment. And Sci-Fi Network, we're telling you, 12 Monkeys is worth the investment.
Yeah, I mean, because maybe it's never going to be like a ratings out of the ballpark smash, but it's got a loyal fan base online. The ratings are fine, as far I haven't checked them for a while, but it seems like
fine. I
mean,
it's
fine, right? They're fine.
As far as a sci-fi show,
it's sci-fi,
sci-fi channel show, yeah.
Yeah, and I think anyone who watches agrees it's the best science fiction show on television right now. So it's like, it's critically beloved. It is well respected. The story doesn't seem to be anywhere near like closing. Like, there's no they don't need to like artificially prolong it. It seems like there's plenty of story left to tell. And I mean, the fan base is maybe not the largest, but it's rabid. It's like, why would you cancel a show like that? What's Sci-Fi gonna put on in that time slot instead? Maybe figure out how to monetize a show like that has a passionate but small-ish fan base. In the internet age, as opposed to just canceling it, hoping to fish for the next Game of Thrones, which is never going to come. Right. So I'm and again, I'm not chiding Sci-Fi because I don't think they're going to cancel it. I'm just saying, like, I don't like this network mentality of just cancel it if it's not a massive hit. Just we can't have good shows anymore. We just need massive hits all over the schedule. It's like that's a ridiculous thing to aspire to.
It's a ridiculous thing, and it causes a lot of low quality. I think a lot of people would argue that many of the shows we've listed, sans Game of Thrones, run out of steam eventually. And it's sometimes you have to invest in the good creative, and 12 Monkeys brings that, and it's a critical darling. The fan base loves it. We just really hope it sticks around. But as I said earlier to everybody listening, do everything that you can to show sci-fi that you're watching it. Definitely. Yeah. All right. Do you have any other notes on this episode, or are you ready to wrap up?
I think we're good. I think we covered it. I mean, I feel like, last week has a lot of exposition about the story and gave us a really strong foothold into the story, but there's still so much more. There's still so much more that I don't know.
I'm very excited to visit the serial killer primary next season. Next episode. Yes. It'll be really, really fun. I wonder if it'll be based off of somebody we know.
1970s serial killer. Count me in. Best
kind of serial killers are the ones in the 70s.
Absolutely.
And that's a horrible thing to say, but some of the most grotesque stories we've ever gotten. On that lovely note, this wraps up our 16th episode of the 12 Monkeys podcast. Before we go, I want to mention a few things. You can download and subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Libsyn. You can also hear all of our podcasts at our website, southgatemediagroup.com. Please subscribe to the show and also rate us. Check out my new podcast, Professional Geek Podcast, a show how to be a professional and also a geek. And follow and also check out tvbinges.com and learn all about Kyle's love of TV.
Yay!
Yay! Follow the show on Twitter at 12 Monkeys Pod, and Kyle and I at Kyle Loves TV and at Blaire Loves TV. And remember, both Kyle and Blaire have an E at the end. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.